Okay, Mr. Dagda, what do you think are the three most important issues facing District 8?
That is a very good question. And as a matter of fact, what I believe that the three most important issues facing District 8 is the lack of transparency and accountability that the city government has had in regards to certain deals that they've done. Specifically, one being like the way that the lack of transparency when it came down to the dealings with the stadium. Now, I'm all for a stadium. I believe it's a fantastic and great idea. However, the execution, I don't agree so much with it. The other one would be the increase of taxes and excessive spending. You know, there's a lot of things that we shouldn't be spending on. Instead, we should be focusing on like the most essentials. And that way, we make El Paso business friendly. Whenever you tax the population less, you're able to have more disposable income, invest, put it back into the economy, spend their money in commerce, instead of just getting it taken away and funding projects that a lot of people just didn't want.
Okay. I think that was two. What's your third?
The third one would be being able to represent everybody equally, regardless of their background.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean everybody equally?
Well, what I mean everybody equally is that myself as a business owner, a small business owner that I used to have in downtown, I faced some problems in the building that I was staying at. And what happened is that I want to approach my city representative. Unfortunately, she didn't give us the time of day. So, in essence, I found out by talking to a lot of people like around the area in downtown, I wasn't alone in this situation. There was
Is that the hotel that was closed or whatever?
Oh, no, sir.
Oh,
It was
different.
Love Light Studio.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Love Light.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you know Carlos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, cool. Where are we? What do you think distinguishes you most from your opponent, the incumbent, Representative Nyland?
Okay, what distinguishes me the most from Courtney Nyland is specifically that I will not make a national embarrassment out of city council. For temper tantrum politics regarding with the whole chair with Limon, that's unacceptable. It shouldn't be something on how you should treat your peers, and as well on how you should behave on city council. And as well, like I believe that she's a very smart, intelligent, and cunning woman with a lot of great ideas. However, her executions are poor.
Do you feel your opponent is falling short? You have a couple of different questions because you're running against an incumbent. Everybody else is running. There's no incumbent to ask that question about because it's an open seat.
Okay. Well, and in the respect of where my opponent falls short is the execution of her plans. She happens to allow biddings to go for certain projects. Companies from outside of El Paso undercut everybody because the scale of economies is if you have a large business, if you have large operating costs, you are able to keep prices down. So they try and undercut everybody else under the table, and once it comes to show, they're not able to deliver, and therefore they ask for higher prices for the projects that they're supposed to execute. So I believe that Courtney Nyland has not been very strict when it comes to this stuff. She has allowed turning San Jacinto Plaza from a park into a park for over 2 years. And
What do you mean by that? From a park into a park? What do you mean by that? You said that in the thing.
Yeah,
I didn't
definitely.
understand it.
Well, it's been, as you may know, it's been remodeled for over 2 years, and it's being turned from a park into a park.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Okay. What specific actions are you going to take to ensure that the projects that were approved by voters in the quality of life bond are completed and seen to fruition?
Come again?
What specific actions are you going to take to ensure that the projects that were approved by the voters in the quality of life bond are seen to fruition?
Well, first and foremost, I want to bring in transparency and accountability, make sure how their taxpayers know how their tax money is being spent in these issues. Also, I want to be able to look closely at them and be able to monitor them to make sure that their prices just do not hike and they just carry the burden onto the taxpayer even further. What I mean to say specifically is making sure that those projects are not underfunded from the get-go. Make sure that they do all the feasibility studies in the beginning. Make sure that their prices are final and they cannot move it up from there.
So you would eliminate things like change orders and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. My final question, it's actually not my final, second to the last question. What actions would you take to control spending at City Council?
Well, like I told you, transparency and accountability, being able to monitor closely, making sure that the flow of information travels from the administrators of the city as well as the taxpayers. That way you know what's at stake. What is what are the things that need to be looked at close specifically.
Okay. And final question, you're talking to an undecided voter in District 8. What do you tell them? What's your pitch?
Well, what I tell them is that I happen to be here to represent everybody equally, regardless of their background. I have no interest in helping out my friends, myself, or my family in that regards. My main interest is helping you, is helping the voters, helping the residents of El Paso, and represent them all equally.
All right.